Welcome to my channel. I've had a few people ask me about the two daughters that I lost. I don't say any of the D words when it comes to them. Like, I can say my mom died or my dad's death, or I cannot say the D words when it comes to my two girls. I say passing. It's just less painful that way. But I've had some people ask about how they passed or about them, because I guess I've talked about them in a few videos. Well, I mean, I know I have. So I thought I would do a video on them and how they passed. And I guess trying to, help, hoping that it helps another grieving mother out there. My sister thought that I should do this video with me looking at the camera, at least at first, to introduce it, but I just couldn't. So, anyway, Ashley. So I just thought I'd have my iPad with some pictures of them. Ashley, she was 21 when she passed. She passed August 1st of 2016, so just a little over 4 years ago. She was 21 when she passed, but she would have been 22 the 29th of that month that she passed. Brittney, she was 27. And she passed March 16th of 2019. And she would have been 28 that July. This is Ashley. She was my baby. And like I said, she was 21. But she lived in a different county than me. And I had talked to her the night before she passed on Messenger, typing. And after I got done talking to her, I told my husband, I said, that wasn't Ashley. Just something told me it wasn't, but her dad told me the same thing. Eric, my husband now, Eric, is her stepdad, but her real dad said he felt the same way. But in the middle of the night, 1 something, 2 something in the morning, I get a phone call from dispatch of the county that she lived in, telling me gave me this detective's name and number and told me to call him. I said, well, Ashley lives in this county, so it has to be about Ashley. What's going on? She goes, I have no idea. I just know that you need to call this detective. So I call him. Which I hadn't slept that night anyway, because I was uneasy about something. I just didn't feel right. The conversation I had with her just didn't sound like her. So I hadn't been asleep yet. So I called the detective, and I told him who I was, and he said, well, here, let me have you talk to the young lady sitting next to me. I went, oh, thank God. Because her and her boyfriend's relationship was bad. It was just bad. And she was in the process of leaving him. She had just got her GED, was starting college. She wanted to study religion. All different kinds of religions. And she was getting ready to leave him. Getting her driver's license, because she'd never had it. She was too scared to drive, but she was learning. But this lady gets on the phone and tells me tells me her name and that she's the coroner of that county. I just fall down, drop the phone, and scream. And Eric came in there and got the phone to see what was going on. And I got up, ran out the door. My daughter lived across the street, my oldest daughter, and Brittney lived behind me. I went to my oldest daughter's house, told her, and then we went and told Brittney. And I came back and calmed down a little bit and called the coroner, and I told her Ashley did not do this to herself. And she said that there would be an investigation and everything. There wasn't. There was nothing. No investigation. They took her straight from the apartment to the funeral home. They found her body in the shower, sitting on a beanbag chair full of stuffed animals. And she had been shot in the left side of her head, and she was right-handed. And not only that, she was terrified of guns, hated guns. I still will never believe that she did this to herself. And I fought the county and fought them. Somebody even came forward one time and gave some information. Nothing happened. The detective would call me sometimes and tell me to take these posts off my Facebook. I didn't. I didn't listen to him. The detective even got arrested for DUIs, but he still has his job. So I learned that fighting them was not going to get me anywhere. I have the police report. None of it adds up. And then there was some other paperwork that the detective told me I could have if I came up there and got them from him in person. I didn't trust it. So I don't have all the paperwork. But I decided fighting them was not going to get me anywhere. So I was working on changing some laws to where there's guidelines on when they do autopsies. And I want to make those guidelines a law to where if they have a combination of a couple of those. Also, the phone call that they gave me still haunts me. They could have called my local police department and had them come tell me. I told that coroner, I said, you don't know if I was alone. You didn't know if I had heart problems. This was so heartless. So I want to make it to where they have to go above and beyond to notify you in person. Because my local police department would have gladly came and told me. I miss her. She was my baby. Beautiful. And she was, she was goth for a while, kind of goth. But she was getting out of that. And it took a while to get to know her, but once you did, she was a sweetheart. And funny and lovable. And look at her, young. And that's her as a baby. She was so chunky because she had asthma when she was a baby and she was on steroids. There's a self-portrait she did. She was an amazing artist. Amazing. And I miss her every day. Brittney. She had lupus. Like I said, she was 27. Every time she would get sick, I would bring her home, prop her up on my couch, and take care of her. This last time, I didn't. And she ended up sick. And she told me she'd be all right. She went to the emergency room. They thought it was just her lupus. She was having trouble breathing. So they gave her medicine for her lupus. And a couple of days later, she still wasn't feeling better. So she went to I told her that Monday. I talked to her Saturday and told her that... No, I talked to her Friday and told her that... I can't remember. Well, anyway, a couple of days later, I talked to her and told her that I would take her to my doctor on that Monday. The next day, I get a phone call from her husband telling me that the ambulance was coming for Brittney. So I drove to their house, picked him up. We followed the ambulance to the hospital. They had a helicopter waiting to fly her to Louisville. She never made it on the helicopter. They called us back. I called her dad's side of the family, and we sat there and watched them do CPR on her for ever. Probably a half hour. She died. Oh, I said the D word. They did an autopsy. She had an enlarged heart from her lupus. And so her heart couldn't keep up with the pneumonia. It was tragic. Both of them were tragic and sudden. And I was just learning how to live with Ashley when this happened. And when I lost her, I knew there was going to be a time that I could think back on the good things and smile and laugh. I knew it wouldn't be this raw ache the whole time. So with her, I just kept looking forward to that. And it has happened. I can look back on both of them and smile and laugh at the good things. Like with Ashley, we always roasted marshmallows over candles. The snug as a bug in a rug. With Brittney, you could tell her a joke. 10 or 15 minutes later, you'd see her eyes get real big and light up, and she'd start laughing. They were great. Brittney was my person. I talked to her every day. And at first, I did blame myself because I didn't bring her home with me to take care of her like I used to. I always did, every other time. And I didn't that time. So I had to work through that guilt. And I just want mothers to know that there is life after the loss of a child. There really is. It's me and Brittney at a Christmas party. See, that's one of the times I brought her home, propped her up on my couch. The dogs took care of her too. That one is, she wouldn't shut up during a Super Bowl game. Brittney and Ashley together. And see, Ashley, accident prone. She wrecked her bike, had a bunch of fractures because she was going through a growth spurt, and they break. You get fractures there easier, but they heal quicker. There's 3 of my girls together. Christina and Ashley. The 3 together. I love this picture of them. Ashley is so serious. Brittney and Ashley. Christina and Brittney. And after Ashley passed, I put purple and black ribbon on my front porch. And then after Brittney passed, I put some purple and black were Ashley's favorite colors. And after Brittney passed, I put ribbon out there with elephants on it because Brittney loved elephants. And when Ashley was small, she always wanted a Christmas tree in her room. I never let her have it because I told her her room wasn't big enough. But she always wanted one with purple and black decorations. After she passed, I put one up at Christmas time, but I kept my regular tree. So after Brittney passed, I put one up with the elephants. And I have a stand, a buffet for them that's dedicated to them. And see, that Brittney gave me those prints one year for Christmas. They were made out of Ashley's thumbprints. So I made some out of Brittney's thumbprints, and they're up on the wall behind that stand. Pictures of them. And this is something that I posted not too long after Brittney passed. I have had a few mothers that haven't lost any kids tell me that they have kids and can imagine what I am going through. That is one of the worst things you can say to a grieving mother. Trust me, you have no idea what I or we are going through. You only think you can imagine the pain. But whatever you imagine, multiply that times 1,000,000,000,000. I know people say things because they want to help and have no idea what to say. The list of things to say is so short. That is okay to say is so short. 1, you are in my thoughts and prayers. 2, I love you and I am here if you need anything. Offer help. Don't be pushy about it. 3, if you knew our children, then after a few weeks, tell us a short memory you have of our child. One that will put a smile on her face. Maybe. Even years later, people try not to talk about Ashley. Things that will make me remember. I always remember every second of every day, and it makes me feel good to know that she's not forgotten by others. That's it. That's the whole list. And don't judge us for how we grieve. Every mother grieves differently. Just getting out of bed is a major accomplishment because we literally feel like our hearts have been torn out of our bodies and buried with our children. We know in the back of our minds that we have family still, and even maybe other children. Our minds know it, our hearts don't. And I know this post is focused on grieving mothers. Fathers mourn differently. And that's true. And I've talked to a lot of grieving mothers, and it's true for them too. I was in some groups after Ashley passed, and they helped. But after I lost Brittney, they quit helping. Because for mothers that haven't lost a child, were their worst nightmares. You know, because you don't want ever lose a child. You don't want to. And we make you realize it can happen. Me, for the parents that have already lost a child, I'm their worst nightmare. And yes, I've been told this. Because I make them, because once you lose a child, you think, oh, it can't happen again. I make them realize that it can. I miss them. And it did take me a while to where getting out of bed wasn't such a struggle. Because they are the first thought on my mind when I wake up. And the last thought on my mind when I go to sleep. How I was coping before was riding my bike with music on. Because getting out and exercising or riding your bike or working out in the gym, the emotions and feelings you have with this, you get to burn some of that out. And every day's different. Especially, okay, like their birthdays or the days of their passing, it's hard. And I do get grouchy, but I just want people to understand how hard this is. For a parent that has lost a child. But I also want the parents that have lost a child to know it's okay to grieve in your own way. And there will be a time when you can think back on your child and smile. there will be a time when you can look back on the good. And there will be a time that you can be grateful for the time you did have with them. Because I am. I still have some things to work on. The major one is my TV room. I hate my TV room. I can't go in there because I have their ashes in there. And Ashley's was up there. And that Christmas before Brittney passed, she walked in and for some reason looked up and she saw them there. And she just crumbled to the floor, cried like it was all fresh. And I just sat there and held her. Had no idea Brittney would be up there with her a few months later. So that's something I need to work on. I've been thinking that maybe I need to, because they're still in the metal box to come in. So I'm thinking that maybe I need to get a wooden box made to put them in that represent them, you know, like Ashley's purple and black and Brittney's with an elephant. But that's the story of my girls and how they passed. And how I'm coping. It's hard. And with this year that I haven't been able to get out, one, the coronavirus, and two, I need surgery on my leg, and I don't want to get it done because of the coronavirus. So I need to get that done so I can get back out on my bike. But I also do crafting, keep my mind busy. But I hope you understand my girls a little more, and I guess me too. And I hope this video helps someone realize that there is life after the loss of a child. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.